Hello, hello. It's Kenya Rahmaan. Hope you're doing well today, this evening. I'm doing fine. Right when I came on live, my dog came right here. Can't, hopefully, he won't uh, go ham with this little loud um, ball he has. I tried to give him the football, but he found this daggone ball. So, hey, what's going on? I'm doing great. I hope you're doing fabulous as well. So, as the caption says, this is a call to action because Ohio has a shared parenting bill that is being presented to the House, and they have people that are already trying to stop it. So I want everybody that's in Ohio, not in Ohio, wherever you are, because this affects the nation. Because as you know, once one bill passes in one state, it's like a roller coaster effect. Everybody starts passing them because if you remember, I believe Tennessee was the first state to pass that driving drunk. If you kill a parent or parents in a drunk driving accident, then uh, you have to pay child support for the orphans. Well, there's a few other states that have now passed that law, implemented. So, although a couple states have passed shared parenting legislation, Kentucky was the first. Arkansas has, and I think those are the only two. I think one more may have. I think I saw West Virginia, but now it's Ohio. And there's some people that's trying to block it. And that's what I want to talk about today. So we need to have all hands on deck and calling and letting them know this is important. We need a shared parenting bill. And I call the people that's blocking it haters for several reasons. One being why they're trying to block it. But first, let me just say a little bit about the bill. The bill automatically, and this is from the Ohio Capitol Journal by Susan Tebben, Tebben. So they're saying the bill automatically gives parents 50-50 child custody, and it would change the state law to automatically allow joint custody to each parent in a custody dispute. Disputes of the custody would then have to be proven with clear and convincing evidence, a legal standard higher than is currently used in custody cases. Now, the bill is being sponsored by Representative Rodney Creech, a Republican from West Alexandria, and Marilyn John, a Republican from Richland County. And they argue that the presumptive equal custody would incentivize parents to work together before getting in lengthy legal battles and would push parents to create a co-parenting plan before getting the courts involved. Now, that is something that most people that are involved in a custody battle or dispute, anybody that is fighting for child support reform or anything like that, people agree with this. It's usually the people that are profiting from what we have in place now. So you're talking about the judges, the lawyers, the child support agency, the government that oppose anything to do with this, and the lobbyists and the groups that are opposing this. And I thought it was interesting when I saw this, that one of the organizations is a domestic violence organization. The bill, by the way, is HB14. So the Ohio, let me see, I lost that. It's called the Ohio Domestic Violence Network, or ODVN. And one of their biggest concerns is that domestic violence survivors or victims of domestic violence won't come forward if there's shared parenting, a bill that presumes that automatically. And I I think on a personal level, I think that it's selfish for people that don't know individuals or their situations to just assume that fathers are inherently abusive. It's just, I mean, where do they get that information? And I think it's old fashioned to believe that. Back when a lot of these laws were made, we didn't have the technology that we have today. There's literally cameras everywhere. So if there was a domestic incident, or I'm saying if the child was with the father or the mother, there's cameras. You can literally record if you get a bad burger and the representative, the person at the restaurant is rude to you, you can record it and get them fired. Like, there's technology out of control. So there's nothing that goes without notice. So to keep reiterating that the reason that shared parenting should not be passed a bill, or to make that uh, the presumptive, I forget the word, but to not have that be all across the board is ridiculous. It's old, and it should not be prevented just because of domestic violence, or that might be an issue. And I went and looked in Ohio, and as we know, a lot of us know, if you apply for welfare benefits, you have to um, cooperate with child support. So if you have a good cause, and that's determined by the caseworker, then you can get a waiver. In Ohio, it was only 0.04% that were approved in the last 5 years. So even though there's mechanisms to protect the survivors of domestic violence, obviously they're not using it. They're not approving those cases. So is there really an issue that's there that these people at the OS, I'm sorry, at the ODVN are really presenting? So that's one thing. The second thing is, when these bills are presented to give fathers equal access to their children when they're not living in the same home, it is hypocritical for these legislators, these political pundits, for these people to oppose these bills just on the strength that they might be abusers. And I give you an example, and then when you ask them about about them opposing these bills and presenting this fatherless crisis, they will not answer. They don't have a good answer because it's bunk. And I give you an example. When Herschel Walker was running down there in Georgia, I asked him, his position, because if you guys recall, when he was running, one of his talking points and one of the things that he was all over the media, social media too, was talking about fatherlessness in the Black community. When I asked him about it on Twitter, he blocked me. I never got an answer, and then come to find out, he had fathered several children, because just by their definition, his children that he fathered out of wedlock were fatherless. But of course, we know that because there he was. Their father was right there. Same thing with Commissioner Jack Brewer, who was a retired NFL player. He's very active in the fatherless community. Um, that pushed that agenda. I asked him the same thing. In the Black community, he says the fatherless this, and it's creating all kind of havoc. I asked him the same thing, because he's running around on every news channel that I have him. Same result. He blocked me on Twitter. So if the the legislators are sitting here trying to pass bills that will give fathers equal access to their children to prevent this fatherless crisis that is making the country, oh my God. I mean, what aren't these fatherless children doing? They're robbing, they're stealing, they're pregnant at 9 years old. They're jacking everything from that's not nailed down. They're killing everything. I mean, the fatherless kids, I mean, damn. So if we're getting bills introduced, why are they being blocked? And why aren't the people like Herschel Walker and Jack Brewer, and he was very close with DeSantis down there in Florida. They signed a bill down there for fatherlessness, and they want them to go to ROTC in Mississippi with what's his name, Shad White. I did a video about him, and he was talking about the fatherless, this and that. Nobody wants to pass legislation to give dads access to their children. They want to block them. They want to call them violent to their children, but they don't want to give them access. That's another thing. You cannot have it both ways. You cannot call these children fatherless and call these men deadbeats, these fathers deadbeats, and not give them access to their children. It's hypocritical and it's a lie. There is no fatherless crisis. It's all bullshit. Sorry for the cussing. Somebody says I cuss too much in my videos, so they can't share them. I'm going to try to a little bit. I just like cussing. So the third thing is one of the main opposers of this bill, surprise, surprise, is the Ohio State Bar Association. Wow, how could we not know that? So he was outside. So Creech, one of the sponsors, says that he received pushback, particularly from the Ohio State Bar Association, and he said that along with the Ohio Judicial Conference, they say it still does not support the bill as it is currently written. So their representative, the OSBA Director of Policy and Legislative Counsel, said that they agree that the ideal situation is the involvement of both. Oh, I'm sorry. My dog is crying for some reason. Okay, I'm gonna start over. I might take this out. I might not. I'm not a big go back and edit my video type of person, but okay, we agreed that the ideal situation is the involvement of both parents in the lives of their children. Okay, that's great. So what's the problem? So his name is Scott Lundgren, Lundgren. However, HB14 could do more harm than good by shifting the long-standing best interest of the child standard currently employed in child custody disputes to instead placing the focus on the interest of the parents. What? If the best interest of the child is what is important, the best interest of the parents should be important as well, because they are a family. Whether they are together or not, they don't live in the same home or not, they're still a family unit. There is so much emphasis on the need for a nuclear family to exist in order for there to be a family. The nuclear family, the mother, the father, married with the children, is a family structure. And yes, it was popular in the 50s. This is 2023. This is different times, and different things are going on. Yes, it's, I guess, ideal for some people to have that family structure, that nuclear family. It's not for everybody. And it's not up to the legislators. It's not up to your neighbor. It's not up to anybody but the people that are involved in that family to say how they want to live. You cannot dictate, or you're not supposed to, because we have a freedom to live how we want to. What happens is people in organizations like these lawyers and stuff, because they get paid off of our family structures, and whether the father's in the home and how much access the father has to that child, they get to determine what family structure is the best family structure. And because the nuclear family is the one that they think is the best, anything else is problematic. So if dad does not live there, that is considered a broken home, and they make money off of that broken home. That family is still a family if they say they're a family. So if the child's best interest is important, so are the parents. Their best interest is important too. So if dad wants to be a part of his child's life, that is essential, just like mom. So if you're going to take his, I just put it like this. If they did the same thing to mothers, as far as just ripping their kids from them, our kids from us, like they do dads, there would be a problem, a huge problem. So the moms that's out there and you're watching this, like, what is she talking about? And, you know, just imagine that you go to court and they take your child that you have all the time and say you can't see that child unless you go through dad, the court, the guardian, ad litem, all these people. And then you do all that and they still make you go and do supervised visits and all that. And you've done nothing wrong. You've done nothing wrong except love your child. Exactly. So you want to get in contact. You want to contact your legislators in Ohio. And I don't have who you would contact, but I'll make sure I put them in the description. The legislators, and tell them to vote yes on HB14. And let's try to get that passed. And hopefully that'll be a catalyst to other states, jurisdictions passing a shared parenting bill that's comprehensive and getting access for fathers to their children. And I think that will help in getting this child support program deleted. Like I said this years ago, if they don't completely abolish it, we can make it obsolete by making sure people don't participate. It's a voluntary program for anybody, as long as you're taking care of your kids. You don't need the government all up in your mix if you're taking care of your children. So I have to go. The dog, maybe you want to go for a walk? Perked up then. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to share, like. Let me see. I have my t-shirts coming out soon. You guys know. I'm doing the Welfare Did Not Destroy the Black Family t-shirts. Those might be available now if you go to my website, thechildsupporthustle.com. Those might be there. So those are mock-ups. If y'all see something or y'all want like a different kind customized, just let me know. CSHustle, the number 1 at gmail.com. If you have a question about your child support case, although I don't work on individual cases anymore, I can point you in the right direction. If you send me a question or something about your case, I'll try to get you in the right, point you in the right direction. And that's it for me. Let me see. I ain't seen no. Okay. All right. Well, thank you guys. Don't forget, subscribe if you're watching this later. It's been my pleasure. If you see anybody, this is something I want to start saying because I know that there's a lot of people going through so much, especially not being able to see their children. So if you are feeling like harming yourself or harming somebody else, please get in touch with somebody. There's a national hotline. I don't have the. I'll put the number in the post, but just dial 911. Somebody will get to you. They'll get you to the right person. Okay. Thank you. Remember, you're better here. Okay. You're loved. Even though I don't feel like it, but you are. Suicide is not the answer. All right. Blessings. Fight the power.